The doctors left. The priest prayed. The servants wept. But the corpse kept smiling, and the walls of the Akram house haven't slept since. They buried him deep beneath the chapel floor, but the smile on his face, it never left. They thought it was just a trick of the light, a wrinkle, a shadow. But the smile on the old man's corpse grew colder with every passing hour. As if it was waiting to be noticed and waiting to haunt the generations, a smile frozen in time. Echoing through portraits. Creeping into people's laughter, and returning each night in the mirror. Wearing someone else's face. It was a quiet evening. But not peaceful. The clouds had turned dark too early, as if the sun had changed its mind and disappeared behind something heavier than weather. The air was still. Even the trees didn't move. From the narrow lane at the bottom of the hill, a black carriage rolled slowly toward the great iron gates of Akram House. Inside it sat Gabriel Akram, returning after 12 years. He was 30 now. Tall, lean, with a face that always seemed to be thinking, but not always kindly. His dark coat was dusty from travel, and his eyes, deep set and shadowed from lack of sleep, looked out the window without blinking. He had come straight from the coast, 2 days' journey, without rest. They had sent only a short note. Sir Hugh is not well. He asks to see you before it is too late. The message had no warmth. No signature. Just instructions. The carriage passed through the gates and up the long gravel path. The grass on either side was wild and untouched. Weeds pressed against the wheels. Somewhere in the distance, a bird gave a dry, broken cry, then silence again. Akram House rose before him like a monument no one visited anymore. Dark stone. Shuttered windows. Ivy that had stopped growing and started dying, turning the walls brown and brittle. Chimneys stood like crooked spines against the sky. It was not a house that welcomed. It was a house that felt cursed. As the carriage stopped at the entrance, the door opened, even before the driver could climb down. A tall, thin man stepped out onto the porch. It was Bowles. The house's butler. Older now. More gray than Gabriel remembered. But his face, the same. Long, pale, unreadable. He didn't smile. He only gave a small nod. You arrived sooner than we expected, he said quietly. Come in. The master is asking for you. Gabriel stepped down from the carriage. His boots crunched on the gravel. He didn't say anything yet. Just looked up at the house once. Then followed Bowles inside. The entrance hall was cold. Colder than outside. The tall ceiling stretched up into shadow. Paintings lined the walls, ancestors. All with the same thin lips. And sunken, knowing eyes. Most were covered in dust. One was turned to face the wall. Gabriel glanced around. How many are here? He asked. Only me, said Bowles. And Mrs. Biles, she cooks, when needed. The rest left after the doctor's third visit. Why? Bowles looked at him. You'll understand soon. He turned and led Gabriel down the corridor. Their footsteps echoed too much. Too loud for a house that quiet. You'll find Sir Hugh very changed, Bowles said. Lowering his voice. He hasn't left the Red Room in weeks. They stopped outside a heavy door. Bowles opened it slowly. He's awake. But he doesn't speak to anyone. Except the priest. And now, you. Gabriel stepped into the room. Inside, the fire was low. The curtains were drawn. A smell lingered. Of old sheets and dried herbs. Something sharp. And something metallic beneath it. Sir Hugh lay in a large, high bed. Half covered by blankets. His face was thin, hollow. But his eyes were wide open. And he was smiling. A strange smile. Still. Too still. As if something had shaped it. From the inside of his skull. He didn't move when Gabriel walked in. Only his eyes shifted. "You came," he said, softly. His voice was cracked and slow. Like something scratching through paper. Gabriel nodded. He didn't speak yet. He hadn't seen his uncle in over a decade. But this didn't feel like a reunion. It felt like the beginning of something wrong. Sir Hugh looked at him with wide, dry eyes. He was still smiling. But not a human smile. It didn't change with emotion. It didn't soften. It just stayed. "I wanted you to come before I go," he said. "Because there are things you need to know." Gabriel sat down. "What things?" he asked. The old man coughed. The sound was soft and papery. "There's a curse in this family," he said. "Older than me. Older than this house. You want to know the curse, don't you? You want to understand why the others left. Why this house is always cold. Why I never married. Why I never had children. Then listen closely. Because the truth doesn't knock twice." He turned his head, painfully, toward the window. The curtains were shut, but he looked as though he could see beyond them, not just the trees, but the years. It was centuries ago. In Rome. Marcus Ockram, a soldier, a scoundrel. A man of arrogance. He didn't believe in saints. He didn't believe in anything. They say he was drunk when he entered the forbidden crypt beneath the old cathedral. A place where no sound was allowed. Not even footsteps. There was a tomb. A saint. Unknown, unnamed. But the priest said he died smiling. And Marcus didn't just laugh at that. He reached in and took the jawbone of that saint. He kept it. Wore it in a pouch around his neck. Said it would protect him from death, as if mocking the very idea of holiness and the saint's death. But what he stole wasn't just bone. It was disrespect. It was wrath, shaped as a smile. Marcus tried to bury the relic. Tried to destroy it. But it was too late. It kept coming back to him in unusual ways because the smile of the saint had already chosen him or cursed him. Marcus was the first to smile in his coffin. The first whose mirror smiled back. And from then on, one child in every generation, always one, would be born smiling. From that day on, the smile came with us. Born smiling. Dying alone. Loved briefly, but always abandoned. Because the smile corrupts everything it touches. There's a sickness in this bloodline, Gabriel. But it doesn't fester in the body. It chooses the face. It waits until one of us is born with a smile that doesn't belong. This smile is a curse which will follow him throughout his life. Sir Hugh coughed. Blood trickled from the side of his mouth, but the smile never broke. The curse isn't just the smile, Gabriel. It's what it brings. Loneliness. Hollow love. A life where, the more you care, the more you lose. You will love. But never keep. You will live. But never be content and known. And in the end, you will die smiling, but sad from inside and all alone. Gabriel felt his skin crawl. The room seemed smaller. The shadows thicker. Gabriel whispered, "Is that what happened to you?" Sir Hugh looked at him. And in that moment, for the first time, the smile seemed almost human. Almost broken. "Yes, they all left me," he said softly. "Even when they tried to love me, the house wouldn't let them stay." The smile, it infects. It shows you in mirrors when you're not there. It finishes your laughter before your mouth opens. And it makes those who love you, feel like they're slowly forgetting who you are. Gabriel stood up. He suddenly felt cold. Not on his skin, but inside his bones. Sir Hugh's eyes began to close. But then he opened them again. Wider. Brighter. I tried to resist it. I locked the relic away. You'll find it. In the black chest. Along with the diaries. Along with the rest. His voice dropped to a whisper. It is not a smile of joy, Gabriel. It's a seal. A door. And once it finds a mouth, it never leaves. Gabriel sat still, frozen by the firelight. The words echoing like steps in an empty corridor. Then Sir Hugh said the last thing he would ever say. If I smile in death, it means the door has opened again. And then, just like that, he went still. He died with the smile still frozen on his face. He closed his eyes quietly as though the purpose of his life had solved. And the smile, it stayed. Forever. 3 days after Sir Hugh passed away, the house prepared for his final farewell. They didn't call it a grand funeral. There was no choir, no speeches, no display of grief. Just a quiet burial, as if the family wanted to put the man, and his strange smile, into the ground as quickly as possible. But on that same morning, a carriage arrived at the gate. It was Evelyn Ward-Burton. She stepped out, looking around with calm but curious eyes. She was young, just 23, with a soft face and a gentle presence, the kind that brought light even into heavy places. Evelyn was Gabriel's fiancée. They had met in London. And until now, she had only heard stories of the old Ockram house. But nothing had prepared her for this. The moment she stepped inside, she noticed the silence. It was a silence, not of peace, but of presence. As if something unseen was watching from the walls, listening from behind every door. She was greeted briefly by one of the servants, the butler. He led her to Gabriel, who stood alone in the drawing room, staring out the window toward the chapel. He looked thinner, tired, and somehow, older. "I'm glad you came," he said softly, but didn't smile. Evelyn nodded and glanced at the old walls around her. The paintings, the corners, even the furniture felt like they had memories that didn't want to stay buried. That afternoon, they carried Sir Hugh's coffin across the courtyard toward the crypt behind the chapel. Evelyn walked beside Gabriel. As they neared the crypt, she saw it for the first time, an old, weather-worn door half covered in moss and iron bolts. It opened with a sound that creaked, as though it hadn't been disturbed in years. And even without knowing the history, Evelyn could feel it, something cold and unnatural lived here. The priest read a few words. There were no tears. No one mentioned the smile still frozen on Sir Hugh's face. The coffin was placed in its resting place, among the generations of Ockrams buried before him. The doors were shut again. Locked. As they walked back towards the house, Evelyn looked up at the windows. And though no one stood there, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching them go. She looked at Gabriel, but he didn't react. His eyes were fixed forward, distant, as if his thoughts were not with the dead, but with something the dead had left behind. That night, Evelyn could not sleep. She lay in the guest room, the fire burning low. The wind outside had stopped completely, but the silence inside the house was even heavier. It wasn't peaceful. It was thick, like the presence of something else. The next day, Gabriel avoided her. He said nothing at breakfast. And later, Evelyn found him standing in front of an old mirror in the corridor. He was staring hard, not moving, not blinking. "Gabriel?" she whispered. He didn't answer. His reflection was smiling. A terrible, crooked grin. But Gabriel's real face was still. And then, for a second, the reflection changed. It was no longer Gabriel at all. It was Sir Hugh, smiling, grinning from ear to ear. Gabriel stepped back, shaking. "Did you see it?" he whispered. Evelyn nodded and they both stood frozen in front of the mirror, seeing Sir Hugh smiling that same unnatural, stretched smile. Then suddenly, Gabriel pulled her away and they ran down the corridor and reached the living room. For a long time, they didn't speak. Finally, Evelyn whispered, "This house, it's wrong, Gabriel. We shouldn't be here. Let's go. Let's just leave this place tonight." Gabriel sat down heavily, hands trembling. "I want to," he said. "I really do. But I can't. Not yet." Evelyn stared at him. "Why?" "There's still paperwork to handle. The will. The estate. The transfer of documents. If we leave now, the whole place will fall into court matters, and I'll be dragged back anyway." Evelyn stepped closer. "So we wait a day? 2 at most?" He nodded. "Just a few more days. And then we leave for good." But his voice lacked strength. Like something inside him was unsure. He added in a whisper, "I feel like it's following me, Evelyn. The curse. Every time I sleep, I see my uncle. Sometimes, I feel him inside me." Evelyn placed her hand on his. "You're not him," she said softly. "And we're leaving soon. Just hold on." The next few days passed in slow dread. And Gabriel grew worse. He slept less, ate little, and began to forget small things. Gabriel hadn't been sleeping. Every night since the funeral, the same dream returned. He was walking down the stairs, deeper and deeper, into the cold earth beneath the house. The stone crypt waited for him, but it wasn't empty. Sir Hugh was standing there, not dead, not alive, just smiling. And whispering something he couldn't quite hear. He would wake with sweat on his neck, but his lips, they were smiling. At first, Gabriel avoided mirrors. But eventually, he couldn't help it. He would stare for minutes, sometimes hours, watching his own face shift. The smile came without command. It curled up slowly, like it belonged to someone else. One night, Evelyn awoke with a start. She felt restless and got up to see out of the window for some fresh air. As she came back to the bed after a while, she looked towards the mirror across the room. And saw her own reflection. Smiling. But her real face was still. She blinked. The reflection smiled wider. It wasn't her smile. It stretched too far. And the eyes weren't hers because they were smiling at her. She grabbed a cloth and threw it over the glass, breathing hard, heart pounding in her chest. That night, she didn't sleep again. The next over breakfast, Gabriel sat silently, his eyes shadowed and distant. "I saw something in the mirror last night," Evelyn said quietly. But Gabriel didn't ask what. He simply nodded. As if he already knew. Evelyn reached across the table, took his hand firmly. "We're not waiting any longer," she said. "Tomorrow morning, we leave this house. Together. You and I. And we never come back." Gabriel looked down at their hands. And then, slowly, nodded. A flicker of hope passed between them, like a candle trying to stay lit in a storm. That night, Gabriel sat alone in the study, pretending to go through documents. But the words blurred before his eyes. The letters on the pages twisted into meaningless lines. He placed the papers aside. He tried to read, but couldn't. Something inside him gave way. He left his room without a word. Barefoot, pale, and silent, and made his way through the halls, down into the crypt behind the chapel. The iron door groaned open again. The same way it had on the day of the funeral. Evelyn had woken to find Gabriel missing from his room, and something in her heart turned cold. She somewhere knew where Gabriel was and followed the trail. She walked out into the fog, her nightgown damp with dew, her feet numb on the stone floor. When she reached the chapel, the crypt door was already open. And inside, she saw Gabriel, standing over his uncle's coffin, breathing hard. He had opened it. And what lay inside was not decayed. Sir Hugh's face was exactly as it had been the day he died, lips curled, eyes closed, skin pale but untouched by time, as if the smile had kept him from rotting. As if it fed on something else. Gabriel just stood there. Staring. Not speaking. Not blinking. Evelyn, who was horrified, whispered his name, "Gabriel," she said, but he didn't move. She took a step closer, and then he turned. Slowly. His eyes were red-rimmed. His hands were trembling. But his lips were starting to curl. Just slightly. Like Sir Hugh's. Evelyn saw it. And something in her broke. She knew this wasn't her Gabriel anymore. It was something evil, something cursed. She turned and ran, through the chapel, across the stone path, through the garden now twisted with weeds. She didn't stop. Not that night. Not for days. No one found Gabriel after that. Weeks passed. The house stood quiet and Evelyn, broken with fear, was taken back to her family, her mind never fully returned. She whispered nonsense about smiles, about mirrors, about the dead not staying dead. They said she had lost her senses. They never let her speak of the Ockram house again. Then, one foggy morning, Gabriel returned. He walked up to the front steps. Alone. He didn't explain where he had been. He didn't speak of the crypt, or his uncle, or the dreams. He simply took his place at the desk in the old study. He walked the same halls Sir Hugh once walked. He sat in the same chair, quiet. Hollow. Smiling. And when the servants greeted him, he only nodded. Without a word. Without warmth. Without blinking. But he smiled. That same, hollow, eerie and a lonely smile, the one passed down through the Ockram bloodline, and one night, before the last servant left, something strange was noticed. In the gallery. The portrait that had once faced the wall now hung high and proud among the other Ockrams. Its frame polished. Its canvas fresh. It was Gabriel's. Painted with lifelike detail. His eyes, cold. His lips, twisted into that same crooked grin. Below it, a small brass plate simply read, "Gabriel Ockram, the smile continues." They all thought they could leave the curse behind. But none could ever do that.